how is it different after the shift?
Yeah.
So really that's what that is referring to.
Yeah.
So really before and after, there is absolutely no difference.
Good.
And everything is completely different.
Wow.
And that's, I mean, you can't get any more ridiculous than that. I say it a lot, and people go, well, you can't, how dare you say that? How dare you say that? That's how it is.
Oh my God. That was beautiful. I'm going to use that as the promo for this podcast. Welcome to Silent Sages Speak, the podcast where timeless wisdom meets the present moment. I'm your host, Sukhdev Virdee, and in each episode, we delve into the profound teachings of non-dual masters, those who have transcended the boundaries of duality and revealed the simplicity of existence. Join us on this journey beyond words as we explore the essence of being with those who have realized the truth that goes beyond language, beyond thought. Open your mind, silence your chatter, and let the wisdom of silent sages resonate within you. Today, my guest from the UK is a poet and a best-selling author of 2 books based on non-duality. The first one is titled This Deafening Silence, and the second one is titled Empty Poems of This Love. He's always been a seeker and a questioner and describes his childhood as being one of those annoying kids who always asked, why? Today, he is a speaker, mentor, coach, poet, and best-selling author of 2 books on spirituality. I'd like to welcome to the show Tim Cliss. Welcome to the show, Tim.
Wow, that is some introduction. I've never had an introduction like that.
Wow. I'm glad you liked it. You deserve it.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I could question quite a lot of it, but we can do that as we go along.
Yeah, I want to. When I went and searched some information about you, obviously I went to your website first, and the first thing I saw, which every non-dual master or whoever's teaching non-duality out there, their websites amuse me. I can't stop laughing. So the header on your website was "Rest in peace, Tim."
Good, eh? I'm glad you like that.
That's a good place to start from.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, that is good. Well, that's my sense of humor.
Yeah. I just saw that and I burst into laughter and I said, this is where I'm going to start the podcast from. How did you get into spirituality and, come into non-duality?
Well, the thing
Give us a
is,
whole, journey, your life journey, how it started.
Well, first I would say, which it sounds kind of contradictory of what you've already said about me. I don't have any sense of what I'm speaking about is spirituality.
Oh, okay. Spirituality, so from my point of view, is just about the self, knowing that.
No, I understand that, but it's not a word I use. And if anyone asks me, I say it's not spiritual, it's natural.
Ah, that's a good one.
So for me, I'm speaking about nature. The nature of what it is to be human.
Wow.
So not spirituality. And I think there is one of the most divisive dualities between what we call the material and the spiritual, as if they are two. And it's very clear that they're not two. So in that sense, you could say I am talking about spirituality, because what I'm trying to point at, you could say, or just suggest, is there's just what there is. And just what there is isn't in different categories. So the most common category is the manifest, or the form and the formless, you could say, and the spiritual is the formless, and the material, the manifest, the world is illusory. And I don't agree with that at all. I'm suggesting that all there is the manifest, and that is the absolute.
Well, that's a good way of looking at it, because when you take the manifest in its entirety, that's all there is.
That's all there is. So in that sense, I never refer to what I speak about. And I guess I don't speak about it as spirituality because I didn't come to this via spirituality.
Okay.
You could say I came to it via psychology, really.
Oh, wow.
So I was a seeker of self in a psychological sense. To
Walk
know
us
myself,
right from your childhood.
to
From
know myself.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
always questioning.
Yeah.
So when people said they knew, I wanted to try and understand, well, how do they know? How do they know that they know? So all the questions that we now ask in non-duality, they've always been there from childhood.
Wow.
These are very childlike questions that most adults have like numbed themselves to these most obvious questions that every human being asks, but then they kind of forget that they ever wanted to know.
Yes. Yes, yes. So well put.
Thank you.
Life gets in the way, and then it's all whatever's there in front of you is taken for granted, and you start running after whatever we call material success.
Yeah, but I think spirituality can be just the same. People start running after spiritual ideas as
Oh yes.
well in just the same way. So whether you're seeking a new car and a better house, or you're seeking enlightenment, for me, I mean, they're both just golden carrots just dangled
Yeah.
in front of self to chase after.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I think there's a
It's
lot of spiritual materialism is what I mean.
oh yes, yes. A
Mhm.
lot, and
And really
uh,
what I'm always trying to point at is there's nothing to be gained.
and I hope people gain it.
Exactly, but you can't. That's the thing. The thing is, I don't hope people gain it. I hope this is a very bizarre hope, because the hope is that anyone who can hear this, and by the way, I'm pretty sure there's only a few human beings can hear this.
Yeah.
Most people
I
most people I speak to, they can't hear a word of
oh
it.
no, no, not at all, not at all. Even if I go back, like I started my journey, mine came at 2015. So if I spoke to myself before that, I would probably call
Yeah,
myself crazy and mad if I
yeah,
spoke like
yeah.
this today. And
That's true.
yes, I always now today I always say I have nothing to teach, and I'm waiting for somebody to say, please teach me.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
people
that's
think,
there is an irony with me, because my profession was a teacher. So
okay,
I was a school teacher for 30 years.
yes, yes, 30 years.
So it's very funny that now people call me a teacher of non-duality, and I just have to correct them every time and say, but I'm not a teacher. I used to be a teacher. I was a teacher for 30 years. You can't teach this. There's nothing to be taught.
Yes,
So, I mean, you could say I'm a teacher that teaches that there's nothing to teach.
yes. And we're going to come to that. I went through your website and read a few of your essays, the poems you've written, and beautiful, beautiful language you've used,
Oh, thank
paradoxical.
you.
And I will maybe, and the good thing about them, they're quite short. And
Yes, I don't write very long work.
yeah.
No.
So you said you were a teacher for 30 years. You were born and brought up in the UK, and you were a PE teacher. And then
Yeah,
you were somebody who wanted to know. When you say you wanted to know, what was it like to know in terms of knowledge, intellect, or what's going on in the world, or the reality of everything?
it was quite grand. I mean, I guess I wanted to know the truth. The truth was something. I mean, children have this. It's very common, again, for children to really want to know the truth. And what they take as the truth, what nearly everyone accepts, every human being comes to accept, is the truth that they've been told.
Yes.
Well, I didn't want that.
Okay.
It's kind of like I sort of never believed the adults. When the adults were telling me what the truth was, what reality was, it just never was satisfying. I think if you've been every seeker knows this feeling of, yeah, and maybe when you were told something and it resonated a bit, it satisfied for a little while, and just for a while you could go with that. So, I was a Christian for a while, and then and then I don't know. Well, I was brought up a Christian, and I always there was elements of it's funny, I was a real lover of Jesus as a child. Kids can really love Jesus.
I
as a
love
friend,
Jesus as a child.
that friend, that Jesus friend idea, that sense of, I love that. But then I had to believe in God, and it's funny because God never came into it for me, and it was I was never a believer in God. I was a believer in Jesus, but not in God, which was I mean, that's just how it was for me, because what I was looking for was someone to be my friend, I think, and that Jesus just seemed like the perfect friend who would always be there for you, never let you down.
Yeah.
Whereas I always saw God as a judgmental old man who was just he was like a wicked grandfather who was always going to chastise me. And so, yeah, I was always asking, I wanted to know the truth. And isn't it ironic that, so the conclusion that I've come to is that the truth is unknowable. And amazingly, that's what makes it okay. So now I wouldn't dream of asking anyone else what they thought the truth was, because I don't know, I wouldn't dream of it. It doesn't even come up to ask anyone, because I know what they're going to tell me. They're going to tell me what they've been taught is the truth.
The moment they open their mouth and say a single word, that's already the falsehood. It's already false.
Well, the thing is, there is no truth. There's only truth.
Yeah.
So when the truth is everything, of course, there is no truth.
There is what is.
Because there is only truth. If there's no truth, there's no lies. If there's no falsehood, if this is neither true nor false, then it's the end of the search. That's how it seems as though that's what happened. So it became undoubted that I couldn't know, and that I also do. I don't doubt that no one knows. And so if it's very clear that no one could know the absolute truth, then that's the end.
Only when you know that it can't be known.
Yes, it's funny because it's not even, I can't say I know, because if I say I know, it doesn't feel like, but I don't doubt. That's the way I put it. And the reason I say it that way, because I don't like it to sound like knowledge. Because it isn't really a knowledge. It's just it's like an absence of doubt.
Good way of putting it.
It's like an absence of doubt that I don't know, which is so paradoxical. And yet that's the closest I can come in words. So I said the other day, and I think I might title my next book, Doubtless Uncertainty, because that's how it feels. There's a doubtless not knowing.
Wow.
There's a doubtless, and of course the doubtless not knowing is wonder. In a very simple, not in a spectacular, miraculous, choirs of angels singing and orchestras playing kind of way, in a very ordinary, miraculous. Because in the same way, this is the only miracle. There is only this miracle. So everything is miraculous. There's no waiting for a miracle to happen. How could it? There's only miracle. So what is there to wait for?
I remember there's a saying that either nothing is a miracle or everything is a miracle.
That's Einstein. Yeah, Einstein said that.
Okay.
Well, I've heard it quoted that he said it.
Okay.
I often think so that there's some myths around who said what. Really, I think something's. But
I think it's Einstein. I remember as well.
I think it is Einstein. He said a lot of really very profound stuff at the end of his life.
Like the God, the statements he said about nature instead of spirituality, nature. He talks about the God of Spinoza, which is nature.
Exactly. That's the lovely.
I believe in the God of Spinoza.
That's exactly what he said. I believe in the God of Spinoza, which is just that. It's really no different to saying it's just this. Not really.
Did you must have what exposure of non-dual teachings did you have to come into it? You must have been through some
Well, I didn't have any. When I had an awakening, the trigger for all of this was an awakening experience that I had when I was teaching.
Okay.
And I was taking some school children on a trip and in the woods, and I was leading them on a hike up a hill, through some woods, up through some rocks, and this profound, I mean, it was very cliched. Now, I didn't have any language for this at all when it happened. So for me, it wasn't a spiritual experience. It was only after, when I researched, because so what happened, what seemed to happen was it was as if the rocks and the trees were speaking to me, but they weren't speaking to me. They weren't speaking in words, but it was just very clear that I knew the rocks and the trees, in the sense of I was the rocks and the trees and they were me. It was just complete lack of separation, in a very visceral, bodily, not in a... So it was as if physically I was inside the rocks and the trees, and physically the rocks and the trees were inside me. And that wasn't... So that was one thing. It wasn't one or the other. It was both of those simultaneously. And that they knew me intimately. So what I'd called myself, the rocks and the trees. So the most outrageous revelation of this was that the rocks and the trees, which I thought were totally, I would have said, being a materialist, I would have said, could have no sense of what I am at all, because they're not sentient. How can a rock be sentient? But what was really clear is that what I'd called myself and what the rocks and the trees were the same. That was it, really. And this didn't happen in time. It was very obvious. This happened while I was walking, and it wasn't in time. It didn't last any time, because I've had people ask me, how long did this experience last? It didn't last any time at all. So in that sense, it didn't happen as well.
Yeah.
So of course, because if it doesn't have a duration, well, it's not happened. So I had this sense of it's not happened as well.
That's what I was going to come to. I read the entire about me section on your website. I read the whole thing, and I love the way you put it in words. And then at the end, you say, of course, none of this happened.
No, and that was one of the most, well, mind-blowing aspects of it was, I didn't doubt that it hadn't happened.
Yeah.
And I mean, well, what? But I couldn't forget it, of course.
Yeah.
So I told a few friends, and they just dismissed it. I mean, they weren't interested because it didn't mean anything to them. But so I left it. I mean, I probably left it 6 months, but then it kept coming up. And so then I started researching oneness experiences, or the new, what did I find? Often in psychology, it's called experiences of the noumenon.
Okay. What does that mean?
That means the one. Numinous, yeah. And so, and I thought, well, that sounds, and I read some others' accounts of and then I heard about the veil being lifted, and I went, oh yeah, it was like the veil was lifted. It was like seeing with new eyes. That you could say that it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then, of course, he couldn't help but think I could have that experience again, because but of course I couldn't, because it hadn't even happened. This was the most bizarre. So I went in search of it again. I went back to the place. I've been back many, many times, as you can imagine. I've been back many times. But of course, it wasn't really about the place. There's all places are the same place. there aren't any places. But I went back there and I followed the route and I meditated so I've been back many times, and anyone who's significant to me, I've taken them there just because it just has this. I put it on the front cover of my book, me sitting on the rocks, that's in that place on the front cover of This Deafening Silence. And so that was the trigger. But then it probably took me 10 years to find non-duality after that.
I've been through exactly the same thing.
Wow.
But mine started off with the love and devotion for Krishna. I was gifted the Bhagavad Gita, and that seemed to just speak to me, and that's all I wanted to do was just be in love with Krishna. And one day, after about 2 years of just reading the Bhagavad Gita, not doing anything else, woke up from morning meditation, and my body froze, and I was thrown into the center of nothingness, and I was one with the entire universe. And wherever my attention went, I was there then and that. I looked down, I could not see my body. There was no body. And time had stood still. Every particle was shining in golden light, and I was the light. And when I came back, I can't say how long it lasted. I would say maybe about anywhere between 7-8 minutes to about half an hour, because there was no time. So when my mind did come back, my first thought was, this is impossible. And if I spoke about this to anybody, they're probably going to think I've lost it. And it's just like you, for the next 6 to 8 months, I tried to recreate this entire scene again, to experience it again. Just sitting and meditating and trying to figure out, what did I do on that day that I'm not doing right now. And within about a year, I think after a year, I was pushed out of love and devotion into non-duality. And it had to be that way for me, because had I come into non-duality without experiencing love and devotion, I would not have believed a single saint that spoke. Neither the Buddha nor Ramana Maharshi or any of the saints, I would never have believed them. But when I came into this, the steps that they were describing was like, yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did. That's what I've been doing. And this guy is talking just about me. And that's when I felt, okay, there must be some truth here. Then I came into the Upanishads and non-duality. But I get that. I spent about 8 months trying to recreate that. And my wife went mad. She said, you've lost it. What are you trying to do?
Yeah.
So you're saying 10 years before you came into non-duality then?
About that, yeah. Yeah, I was about, how old was I? Yeah, I was about 32.
Oh, okay. So you had this when you
So
were
I
in
was
your
about
20s.
32, and it wasn't until I was about 42 that I came across it.
Okay. Then did you start studying them, the texts?
No, and initially it wasn't, and I would say initially it wasn't non-duality. It was more psychological spirituality, really, rather than, it wasn't until radical non-duality didn't come along until about another 5 years after I was.
Okay.
And then I found lots of non-duality teachers, all sort of all in one go, all at the same time. So, and I was trying to go to as many as I could. I was lucky because Tony Parsons was in London and I could go to Tony's he had monthly meetings. So I went every month for about 7 years.
Wow. Wow. So you've been doing this now for a very long time.
I've been speaking now about, I don't know really, was it 6 or 7 years, I suppose?
Yeah, about 6 years, I think.
Something like that.
For your first videos on YouTube 6 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'd done some talks at friends' houses and stuff before that, a little bit. Yeah. But not much. It just took everything. So in the end, it was, do you know why I'm a non-duality speaker?
No.
I can't do anything else.
Yes.
Really? I mean it. I can't. It's really not possible for me to go back to being Tim.
I've been through that as well. But I'll tell you in the next few years, you will be coming back. You will be.
I don't think so. Not now. I
The
don't think.
I'll tell you, the realization cannot be reversed. That's for sure. But all the saints and sages that I have studied so far,
Yeah.
and this has happened with me as well,
Mhm.
after your realization and your awakening, when it becomes so clear and everything, all of them have been through a solitude period of about at least 10 to 13 years. After that is when they all came out and started teaching. That's most of the saints and sages that I've studied. And including me, for the past 8, 9 years, I did not step out. I did not want to meet anybody. I could
No.
not relate with anybody. I was just happy in my own company. But now that's the reason where I'm doing all this
Oh
podcast and
no.
everything.
Well, that's what I mean. When I say I can't do anything else,
Yeah.
it's yeah, it, it's like I have to speak about it, really.
Yes, yes. There is nothing higher or better to speak than this now, after knowing this
Well,
or not knowing
I
it.
mean, I think, do you know that? I mean, a lot of the time, I just think it's totally useless and worthless and futile, and it is all of those. And of course, it is in in a literal, in a in a relative sense, it is. It's because people say, well, what will I get out of it? I mean, oh, you won't get anything out of it at all, because this isn't for you. And that's the great irony. But I said, but I could mention a few things that might interest you or not, like the peace that passes all understanding, that might resonate with you or not. I don't know. But if if that does interest you, well, that could be on offer.
Yeah. I get that. But then you put yourself in the shoes of somebody who doesn't know about it, like when you were out there searching for it.
Oh yeah, well that's
Yeah.
what I
So
do. I mean,
yeah,
what I do a lot of the time is I speak to people because they haven't really got anyone else to speak to.
yeah,
So that's that. I see my job as a job because I don't work. I mean, this is kind of my job. It's not a job, but I see my job as being. I like to be available to people to speak to, because this can be very isolating when it happens and you don't. I mean, it is much better now with the internet because you have got quite a choice of people you could contact.
yes.
When that happened to me, that wasn't the case.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
I mean, there was no one to talk to. So I do think everyone, if you have access to the internet now, and there you do have an awakening experience, which can be at very least disconcerting, even if it's wonderful and you think it's incredible and wonderful. It's still, I mean, it still can throw what you've called your world into total disarray. And it's great that there are a whole variety of people now who make themselves available that you can speak
Yeah.
to.
Yes.
I think that's great.
Otherwise, we'd all think we've gone insane if we didn't have somebody
Well,
to
you can
tell us.
feel, I mean, it's very
Yeah.
common. I mean, I've spoken to a lot of people. It's quite common to feel that you're going insane,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
or you've lost it, because of course
Yes.
you have. It's
I
not
watched
it's not untrue.
I watched your last video that you put up on 1st of Feb, and you're calling everybody. What was it?
Weirdos.
Weirdos and losers.
Losers. Yeah, that was good. Well, it is. I mean, this is a club for losers. Yeah.
And you say you went on to say, if you don't think yourself as a loser, then you haven't lost enough yet.
That's what I say. I'm just joking. That's my humor. But there is some truth in that.
No, that is the absolute truth. It is.
Oh
You've
no,
got to.
because if you're not going to be happy calling yourself a
Uh,
loser,
uh,
you really haven't lost enough.
yeah, you've got to lose everything. In fact, you're going to lose yourself to gain this. You've got to lose yourself. It's
It is
ironic,
very,
but
it's a
when you lose
very,
yourself,
yeah,
you lose everything. You gain everything as well.
yeah.
Um,
Well, the thing, I
And
mean, I'd go as far as say you gain nothing as well, and that is everything.
yes,
So in the gaining, I mean, I really would say it's all loss, because the loss of everything is the gaining of nothing.
yeah,
And that is, I mean, the secret that is, Tony always called it I don't know if you know Tony's way he talks about it.
yeah.
He calls it the open secret.
Oh yeah.
So
His website is called The Open Secret as well.
the open secret is that there is nothing to find. Everything is in full view.
Yeah.
I mean, what a secret. And Tony also said, which I always loved him saying it, he said, well, you know, if you wanted to hide somewhere, where would be the best place? Everywhere.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's great.
Yeah.
If you wanted to hide, where would you hide? You'd hide everywhere. You'd never be found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always when people ask me what do you gain out of it, so my explanation is when you describe things, when we say you're going to lose everything or you're going to gain nothing, it's the difference between everything and nothing. And everything is made of things. What is a thing? A thing has a name, a form, and a use, right? So the
Yeah.
opposite is nameless, formless, and useless. It's absolutely useless. You can't use it for anything. You can't do
No.
anything to it or with it. Yeah.
No, that's why I say it's not a gaining. Yeah, for that
Yeah.
very reason. Because what are you going to do? So what are you going to do with it? Oh, yeah, you won't be
Yeah.
doing
You
anything.
can't
with
do
it.
anything with it. You can't.
No.
Can't.
But it will be. I mean, the revelation here, when it seemed that, because I've never been. I don't know how others. You can. Well, this is very clear. I can never know how you would see it, how it's seen there. I can't
Yeah.
speak for anyone else. So the whole notion is of knowing how others speak of this and their experience. I mean, I can't dismiss that as it's just completely nonsensical. So it's just bullshit, isn't it? Of the highest order, really. How can anyone for one moment think that what Ramana was talking about and what I'm talking about are the same thing? It's just outrageous. I don't ever go near that stuff at all. But I don't even know what I was going to say now. But I am amazed. But because what's very clear is, I mean, because I dismissed a lot of the Advaita when I got radical. When it was radical non-duality, I dismissed it. But it's very obvious now that when Ramana or Nisargadatta or you know, there is no self, there's only self. It just, I mean, it's just very obvious. It's not, and the thing is, that sounds such a big deal. It's totally paradoxical. It sounds a big deal. It's no big deal at all.
Yeah, it's like saying there's a saying when you go from not being awakened to awakened. Before awakening, you're like your reaction to the word is what, and then when you awaken, it becomes so what.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it can still be what, it can still be that. That's the, yeah, I mean, I haven't become some kind of saint.
No. I was going to ask you, actually, I've watched a few of your videos. I must tell you this. You remind me of one of my uncles who looked just like you. And he also had a smiling face all the time. I could make out from just your videos and your body language, you're somebody who never gets angry. And
Oh, no, I can.
your way of speaking is so lovable. And you push in those cuss words as well. And you speak them so lovably.
Oh, I know. I love swearing. I think yeah. I think you can convey a lot in swearing.
Yes. One
I
thing it
don't
does is it makes people take you seriously, more seriously.
Well, I think so. I just like it for emphasis. I always have done.
Yeah. So when people, you started off when there was no internet, and I've seen most of your videos where you're in people's houses, or you're at some, maybe a hall or somewhere where you have a group of people sitting. What is your method of teaching? What do you talk to them? How do you take somebody who doesn't know, who's never heard about this?
I really can't emphasize enough. There's no methodology at all.
Oh,
It's,
you
v-
take it as it comes. Oh,
it's totally random.
random.
I
Okay.
don't have any preparation whatsoever, and I don't have any methods.
But you must be having some people who have some questions or have some realizations
Yeah,
from
so
what you
I would
spoke.
say, so my method is is just response. That's all. So I respond to whatever appears. That's all.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't. So I don't even know my introductions. I think some speakers pretty much have a set introduction when they do a speak, when they're talking.
Yeah.
They say not necessarily exactly the same, but pretty much they say the same thing. I don't do that either.
Okay.
I have no idea what I'm going to begin with.
Huh. That's actually a
And
good thing.
sometimes because I haven't got any clear idea of what I'm going to be, there's nothing to start with. So I just wait until something comes.
That's the best way of doing it. And I do that a lot. And I'm always open ears to hear what I am going to say. Because
Yeah, I
everything
don't know
I'm
what.
going to say, it's like I'm saying this for the first time. I want to hear what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I meet Darren. Darren co-hosts my meetings with me on Zoom. And
Okay.
we meet for 10 minutes before. And he says, so what are you going to talk about today? I go, I don't know. What shall I talk about? He went, I don't know.
Yeah.
He said, just sit there. Something will come. And that's how I do it. Yeah. But I don't see it as, because I can't emphasize enough. This couldn't be taught. I don't have any sense that you could teach someone this, because you can't teach someone how to lose.
Yeah.
Because teaching is always going to be a gaining. It's because this is the only thing I can do is point to the emptiness of knowledge and understanding. And although it can still, I know a lot of people who have had very deep and clear understanding. Oh, you've frozen.
Oh,
But they, oh, there you are. Yeah, so you can have a very thorough, clear, intellectual understanding of non-duality.
yes.
That's of no
Of
relevance.
no use. Yes. Yes.
No. Well, it is. It's just the use it is. It can make it so terribly frustrating that it can get excruciatingly painful for the one who realize, if it becomes obvious, which it did here, I would say, that all my knowledge and all my understanding, because I studied. Because if you want to learn something, what do you do? If you're passionate about something, and you want to learn it, I've been an academic, in the academic world. So you study it as hard as you can.
Yeah.
When it was clear, the more I understood, the more I knew, the worse it became.
Okay.
Really became worse and worse. So I'm not in the game of trying to teach anybody anything, because I feel I don't think it's even counterproductive. I just think it's of no value, because I mean, that moment out of time that never happened, I mean, that didn't take any learning.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
And so there's no, this undermines knowledge and understanding, and yet it respects it as well. It's seen to be what it is relatively. It allows you to speak and converse with people, but it's of no,
Yeah.
it's absolutely valueless. It doesn't have any value in itself
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's the only way we can communicate or learn
Yeah,
about
of
it.
course, and I love
And
words. Well,
yeah.
you said about my poetry and writing. I love language.
Yeah. Hey, you just reminded me. I'm gonna. You have the internet on? You have your website on? There's one that's called The Truth, and the last one that you wrote, Unreasonable. These two were really beautiful.
Oh yeah, they're recent ones. Yeah, I only wrote those recently.
You want to read that, or do you want me to read one of those?
Sure, I can read it. Hold on.
Yeah, it would be nice to hear it from your voice, and if you could just
Where
I
is
think unreasonable was really good, and the truth, even the truth, very paradoxical.
Yeah, I can read those. Can you still see me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, let me have a look. Um, I'll just get it out. Oh, I can do it on my phone, can't I? Hold on, that's easier.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You have something with the word this. I've seen the word this everywhere.
That's all that's what I say it all the time.
It's on your website, on your book titles.
It's everywhere. That's the word. I don't know why. It's the word that resonates, and it's the word. I mean, it doesn't mean anything.
I was going to ask you because it's your website is timclissthis.com.
That's the one.
And the titles
Um,
of the books was as well.
yeah, I've put this in the
This.
title, and I think it may be. I'm just about to finish my next book. Yeah, should be finished. Which one would you like me to read? Unreasonable.
Unreasonable and the truth.
Okay. It may sound unreasonable, but things don't happen for a reason. Things seem to happen, and thinking that things happen for a reason may happen too, but that is equally for no reason. Everything is for no reason. Everything is nothing. Nothing happens for no reason.
Wow. For a lot of people, that would be just like, holy crap, what was that?
It's the worst. It's the worst thing you could ever say to most people.
Yeah.
This is all. This emptiness that is full is complete. Completely full, completely empty. There is nothing missing. Nothing is full. This fullness is not full of hope or potential. This is not from which that will come. There is no becoming. This is the end and the beginning, with no space in between. No way, always. There is no more or less. This is all. All is this. This is not. All is not. Not is all.
Wow.
I,
Do these words just flow out, or do you sit and think about them? Do you spend
and
time sitting with them?
yeah, I wouldn't say they necessarily all. It never takes me more than 5 minutes.
Wow.
So there would be an idea come about, there'd just be, I don't know, 1, 2 or 3 words, and then pretty much the whole thing, yeah, comes at once.
So the second book that you've published, The Empty Poems of This Love, is
Mhm. That's those.
it's this kind of poems in them?
Yeah, it's that.
Oh, wow.
That's what it is. It's all my Facebook posts.
Okay. Okay.
Not
I'm
all the
gonna
ones, the ones I chose, my favorite ones.
okay.
So
That's something I'm
I'll
gonna
post on
watch.
Facebook, and if I don't know, words just they just come away often when I'm in bed, actually. Either late at night and early morning, usually when I'm in bed, a lot of the time.
Okay. Okay.
And yeah, I just, because Facebook was there for me, rather than write it down or
Yeah.
type it in a notebook, I just write them
Yeah.
on Facebook.
Yeah. That's okay. Yeah, that's a good.
So Facebook has become like my notepad.
Oh, that's a
That's
good
kind
one.
of what it
That's
is.
good. Yeah.
That's what.
When I understood Advaita and non-duality and I got it, I just could not keep that knowledge within me. And I'm a pop star. I'm a Punjabi Bhangra singer. I've all my life been doing stage shows and
I've had a
stuff.
listen. I've had a
Yeah.
listen. It's good
Oh,
fun.
okay. Yeah. So when I went through all this, I was like, shit, no one's gonna want to listen to spirituality or this kind of stuff from me. And I can't keep it within myself. So what I did is in 2019, I put all the stuff that I wanted to speak to anybody into in a form of book. Printed, published 10 books, and I let it all out of my system. And then,
Amazing that you did 10 books.
yeah, I never wanted to become an author of one book. That's my main thing. Because whenever I go and pick up a book of some author, I want to make sure he's a master at that particular subject. So if somebody is writing about business, and then he's writing about art as well, and then he's writing about engineering, I would not buy
Right.
a book from somebody like that. So I wanted to make sure that I put all my knowledge, and at least, and the reason was to put them into small books. So my books are like 100 pages. That's
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I let that all out. And the reason was I was not ready to come out and talk to people about it. So it's just recently now, after about 5 years, it's like now I've got to go out and talk about, I can't stop it. I've got to do
No.
everything to meet and
Well, I'm
reach as many
just waiting
people.
for the thousands, tens of thousands of people to turn up.
Well, they'll turn up on their own. When I published my books, I was like, the right people are gonna find the books on their own. I'm not gonna advertise or push them out at all
Mm.
myself.
Well, it's a
And
very, I mean, the marketplace is small.
yeah,
It's small for non-duality. It just is.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
It's
there are exceptions, but not many.
yeah. No, it is, and it's good. It's good in a way. It's good in a way because only somebody who gets it will be able to write about it. Like the
Mhm.
poems you just read. If I had heard this maybe 10 years ago, I would say, what? This is nonsensical. Doesn't make sense.
That's what all my friends say.
Yeah. Yeah. So the few people who get it are the ones who can write about it.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's
true.
that's
I mean,
the
we're almost writing. I mean, who are we writing for, really? So that
yeah,
we're
yeah,
just for
yeah.
ourselves.
Like somebody said, on on one side of awakening, people who are unawakened have all the questions and no answer. And on the other side, these people who are awakened have the answer, they have no questions.
It's true. It's true.
So the word you used, you for your next book, you said doubtless. Doubtless means there is no question, there's nothing left to ask.
That's what I was going to say. But the doubtless, and so the second word is uncertainty.
Uncertainty. Okay.
Doubtless uncertainty.
Contradictory.
Yeah. And because people are always leveling at me and said, well, you contradict yourself all the time. I went, yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Everything's
Nothing is everything. Yeah,
absolutely. You
everything is
can't
nothing.
get, can you get more contradictory? How can the formless be form?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
and there's a very simple answer, and the answer is always, I don't know. I mean, isn't that wonderful? One of the most liberating, I would say, one of the things that makes this worth speaking about is, isn't it wonderful to be able to say, I don't know,
yes.
without any doubt, and not care at all. Without any doubt, I don't think anyone else could know. So there will be people who say they know. I don't believe them. It's fine.
Yeah.
Anyone who says they know the truth, I'd go, oh, that's nice for you.
Yes, I
and
agree.
it's a wonderful lightness in that
Yeah.
I
Yes,
mean, it's
yes.
just the pure arrogance of self that one human being
Yeah.
thinks that he or she knows the absolute truth. I mean, there's the total grandiosity, the outrageous arrogance of me.
Arrogance. Yeah, yeah. I think it was Socrates as well who's quoted, one thing I'm sure of is that I know nothing. That I'm sure of.
Yes, that's lovely. Well, you see, I'd have to contradict him on that straight away because, of course, the one thing about nothing is that you can't know it.
It's not a thing.
You can't know it. There's nothing to know.
Yeah.
So I would say that's why that I don't. The doubtlessness is because emptiness can't be known,
Yes. Yes.
and we're really speaking of emptiness, which is impossible to speak about, and yet that is wise. So when I'm talking about this, I'm speaking about this emptiness that is full.
Yeah.
That it's unspeakable, and yet there is a desire to speak in in a paradoxical,
Yeah.
contradictory way that points to this unspeakableness, this mystery, this total unknowableness, this wonder, all the words that you've been, and it's in the totally mundane ordinariness of everyday life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without exception. So the most boring, the most trivial, the most familiar is the mystery, the wonder.
Now,
That's amazing.
a question here would arise. Why would somebody want to realize the self if
I don't
it's going
think
to
they
become
would.
like that?
I don't think
You
they
would.
would to. I don't think self. I always emphasize, and I say this in most of my meetings. Don't get me wrong. This is not what you want.
Yes.
Because if this was what you wanted, it would be something else, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because what do you want? You want something other than this. You don't want this. This isn't good enough. This isn't it. You want something else. So bear in mind, this can never be what you want.
Yeah.
It's not possible because wanting is always somewhere else.
Nice way. Good way of putting it.
And so
One great thing I've seen of a lot of non-dual masters is they just silence the mind, they shut the mind up. It's
yeah,
like not letting the mind move anywhere,
no.
just become still. That's what I'm talking about, you know?
Well, I mean, that kind of thing, I mean, it might shut it up for a while, but you know what the mind's like.
Yeah.
It spins all on its own.
So, this is great. So, but now that you're on the internet, I've been on your website. You do a lot of one-on-ones. You have events that you do.
Well, I mean,
Um,
I don't do a lot. I'm available
okay.
if anyone wants one, but I mean, I charge for that. I mean,
Yeah.
if anyone wants to contact, anyone can email me.
Okay.
But if I'm going to give up an hour, usually, I mean, I usually I,
Yeah.
I charge a fee for that because it's the only thing I make money at, really.
Yeah. Okay.
And I
Okay.
will say people actually complain about that, and they went, "Well,
Oh,
who else gives their time for free?"
no. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
It's
so I do one-to-ones. I do a Zoom every week, yeah, nearly
yeah.
every
Okay.
Thursday,
Okay.
and I've been doing talks in London once a month mostly, and I've been to America 5 times this last year.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
I've
You
been to
still do the
Copenhagen a couple of times.
yeah, I saw those videos. You still do the meetings at homes or like
Mm,
the ones you're doing?
I've got one coming up in Brighton. I've got a friend in Brighton who's got a lovely home in Brighton, and he's invited
Ah,
me. So I'm in Brighton in April. Yeah. So all the
beautiful
details are
place.
on my website of that. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful place.
He's got a lovely, Brighton's lovely. So that's a treat. I go down and stay the whole weekend in Brighton with him.
Wow, wow. I studied music in the UK. My
Did you?
sister,
Where?
yeah,
In London?
in yeah, in Slough, East Berkshire.
Oh,
There's
well, I
there's a
know I went to university in Reading next to Slough.
okay, yeah. I was in Langley College,
Oh, yeah.
part of Maidenhead, Windsor, and
Yeah,
East
yeah. I used to be a
Berkshire.
teacher in Maidenhead.
Oh, wow. So I
Yeah.
studied music there. My sister lives in Reading, and now my wife is from Slough. Her family, my in-laws stay in Slough. So I do
Oh,
come.
see, you've got a real Slough connection.
Yeah, yeah. And so when I was there, I used to do a lot of concerts as well and go and perform at the Indian clubs and restaurants. So I went
Yeah.
down to Brighton and I was, wow, this is the place where I need to buy a
That's,
house.
yeah,
Beautiful
yeah.
place.
If I could afford it, I'd buy a house in Brighton. Yeah,
Wow.
it would be one of my favorite places to live.
Okay. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna throw three. We're just gonna have some fun. I'm gonna give you three non-dual quotes. I want you to pick up any one of them that resonates with you, and just give me your feeling or whatever spontaneously comes out of your mouth. Let's hear what it is. They're gonna be the one from Zen Buddhism. One is from the Bible, and the other one is from the Bhagavad Gita. So here's like what you say about nothing, doing nothing after it. So in Zen Buddhism, they say before enlightenment, chopping wood and carrying water. After enlightenment, chopping wood and carrying water. From the Bible, there is I am that I am. This is a very popular one. And there's the other one. Be still and know that I am God. Okay. And from the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, the one who sees inaction in action and action in inaction truly sees.
Oh, yeah. I quite like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want me to repeat them? Before enlightenment, chopping wood, carrying water. After
Well,
enlightenment,
I guess that
chopping
one,
wood,
I
carrying
mean,
water.
that's the most famous one for enlightenment, you know, that so everything, so the way I usually say it, because people always want to know your story, of course.
Yeah.
So what was it? So when did it happen? That didn't happen. What was it like before? What was it like during, you know, the shift? And then how was it different after the shift?
Yeah.
So really that's what that is referring to.
Yeah.
So really before and after, there is absolutely no difference.
Good.
And everything is completely different.
Wow.
And that's, I mean, you can't get any more ridiculous than that. I say it a lot, and people go, well, you can't, how dare you say that? How dare you say that? That's how it is.
Oh my God. That was beautiful. I'm going to use that as the promo for this podcast.
And that's really right on the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say that's really, how is it? Well, it's just the same. Oh, but completely different.
Yeah. Okay. What about this one? The one who sees action in inaction and inaction in action.
Yeah, well, I like that, because that's kind of Zen as well, because it's like the formless is form, and form is formless, and yeah, it's the way I usually word it is that the emptiness is full. So if anyone says, is this empty or full? I went, oh, it's empty. That's full. It's full of emptiness. And they go, what do you mean it's full of emptiness? I go, well, the emptiness is full. And they go, is it full or empty? And then you go, well, it's fullness that's empty. So what is the fullness? Oh, the fullness is completely empty, and the emptiness is completely full. Wow. And so again, where does the mind? So all of that really is. I mean, I can say it in a joking kind of way because it is funny, but I mean it.
Yeah. It's like for one of the Upanishads, one of them starts with that the absolute is the infinite, and this is the infinite. This infinite has come from that infinite. And when this infinite merges into that infinite, infinite remains infinite.
Of course it does. You see, I don't use the word infinite. I prefer emptiness. I don't like infinite because it sounds like because infinite is without end.
Yeah, okay.
And I never use the word infinite. I don't use the word eternal because that's time without end. And I don't use infinite because that's kind of like distance without end. Well, the whole notion is that, of course, finite and infinite, infinite are not two. So, you know, the distance and no distance, again, is one and the same. So, because I think by emphasizing the infinite, it's kind of like, the mind can only work in duality, really. I mean, that's what shuts the mind down, is of the paradoxes. You could say that's the only tool at our disposal to talk about this. But when you talk about the infinite, it kind of dismisses the finite, the manifest, the form, the thingness. So when you say there's only nothing, no, it's that the thingness is nothing, and the nothing is the thingness. It's not that one is illusory and the other one is true. No, they're equally. There's no duality. The duality is that One is true and the other one is false. One is illusory and one is really real.
Yes.
This is the end of looking for the real when there's only the real, which is equally unreal.
Wow. You are so good with your words.
Do you want to say hello to my brother?
Oh,
That
yeah, I
was
would.
really good. I agree. That was good. That was good.
My brother's just
That
turned
was
up.
good. That was a really good explanation.
Did you like that?
He's really knocked it out of the park with that one.
Tone, this is my brother Tone.
Hiya.
Come in down so he can see you.
Hi.
Hiya. I've just arrived, brought his tea up.
Wow. Wow.
He's brought me some dinner.
Spaghetti bolognese.
Oh, lovely.
Are you elder
Yes.
or younger?
Yes.
Elder.
Older.
Does he make sense to you?
Yes, complete.
Completely.
Absolute complete sense. That's true. And
That's
that
good.
was I think that was his best explanation ever. That was finite, infinite. That was
Oh,
really
he's done a lot of in this talk, a lot of gems, a lot of nuggets,
a lot of nuggets.
quotes. Yeah, a lot of.
I
great
get them
quotes.
all day long. It's like a gold mine out there. in nuggets.
He has to put up with that.
It's like a gold mine.
My wife tells me to shut the F up when I start talking about it. Nobody wants to listen to me.
Oh,
Well, like Tim didn't get many to his thing on Saturday, and you know, it's not a message everybody wants to hear.
Yes.
That's for sure.
no.
Yes. Well,
No.
you're lucky to hear this all day from him.
I am so blessed.
Yeah.
I'm
wow.
blessed with a guru at my disposal, 24/7.
Wow.
I know.
Do you
He's,
Don't be
give
too
talks as
jealous.
well? Do you give talks as well?
No.
No. I dance.
So
I'm a free dancer.
he's he would like your music.
I love dancing and music. I'm music and dance.
Oh, you need to
So-
send me some of your videos. We'll
So
probably
that's-
get you in a
Well, I
video.
haven't. I'm waiting for a band that
Sukhdev is a pop song.
you're not.
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a Bhangra, is it?
Is it
Punjabi,
Bhangra?
yeah, Bhangra.
Punjabi,
Bhangra music's quite popular in the UK as well. In fact,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
doing a few songs for some
I love
Punjabi
Bhangra.
singers there. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
brilliant. That's
But
brilliant.
we'll probably get you in one of my videos.
I'd love to. I'd love to dance. with one
I'll
of
take
your
you up on
songs.
that. I'll
Yeah,
take you up on that.
definitely.
Really?
Definitely. I'd
how
love to dance
lovely.
to one of your songs. I
Oh,
would.
funny.
No, seriously, I would.
No,
That
I'm
would be-
serious as well. I'm serious as well.
That-
I
that
will
would
get in
be-
touch with
That
Tim.
would be something.
That would. No, it would be really something. I would love that.
Put the kettle on.
I just need a rock band or music so I can be a front man and knock it out. A bit like Mick Jagger.
he,
An old
thinks,
Mick Jagger.
he thinks he's Mick
I
Jagger.
think I'm Mick Jagger.
Wow. Thank you
No.
so much, Tim. It's been lovely. What I want you to do is just for all the people who are listening and watching,
Yeah.
what do you offer? Where can they get in touch with you?
Well,
What
just
do you-
just go
you-
to my website. So my website is called Tim Cliss This, or it's also called This Deafening Silence. TimClissThis.com is the website, and on there all my meetings, events, all my videos, my books for sale, poetry, essays. Yeah. And if you're interested and you want to come to any of the Zooms, then just email me. Again, you can do that through the website at clistim@gmail.com. I'll put you on there. I do a video, a Zoom meeting nearly every Thursday, and I get a lovely group of people to that. It's quite a lovely community we've got. Really, I really enjoy it.
I think I'm going to join the next one.
It is very nice. Some lovely people come. It's not just me who speaks. I mean, I speak, and then, but there's usually at least 5 or 6 other people speak during the meeting, and just sharing. A lot of the same people come. It's kind of like a again,
weirdos and losers together.
That's what it is. Weirdos Losers Club. Yeah.
No, sorry, go on. You were going to say something.
Well, I just say it can be really feel very isolating.
Oh, yes.
You know, because you share it with people and like you say, they think you're crazy. They think it's insane. when it's total sanity. But wouldn't that be, I mean, there's another great the great paradox is the more insane it is, the closer to sanity that it actually is.
Yeah. In Advaita, they say it should be the most interesting subject to you because it's all about you, the real you. It's not about anything else, you know.
Mm.
And that should be the most interesting subject. And there's another one which I've just
Yeah.
got off my mind. Anyway.
Well, thank you very much. I've enjoyed
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I had a blast. You are so full of humor. And again, your smile and the way
I
you
really,
talk.
no, and you're really very good at this. You're easy to talk to. It's nice.
No, I wanted to make my podcast fun and humorous because most of the ones that when I went through my learning process, it was all very serious and
Yeah.
awareness, consciousness,
Mhm.
existence. You know, it
Yeah.
was very serious, and I don't think it's that. It's
No,
not got to be that.
not at all.
Yeah, it's being portrayed as one being very complex. It's so complex you can't understand it. It can't be known. You can't do
No,
anything to it. You know, it's something like way out there.
no,
And
it's too simple to be explained.
yes, yes. So I wanted mine to be, fun. Let's talk about nothing. The last book I wrote was titled "The Power of Nothing," and so I told my son, the title is "The Power of Nothing." So he said, "Did you leave the pages empty?"
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I thought,
Yeah,
yeah,
nice.
I should have left the first 5 pages blank just to
Yeah,
make
so
a point.
everyone got it. I went, oh, it really is nothing.
In fact, what I started with is, are you sure you want to spend your money and your time to learn about nothing?
You'd be surprised. Some people do. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
All right.
Again, once more, thank you so much. I am so grateful.
Oh no,
Stay
thank
blessed.
you.
Keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to put all the links. I'll get all the links to your books and your website and the Zoom links. I'll put them below on this video. So if anyone
Thank you
wants to
very much.
anyone wants to get in touch with you, I will make sure I attend one of your Zoom calls as well.
Oh, you'll be very welcome. Yeah, anytime.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Tim.
Yeah, and good luck. Yeah, good luck.
God bless.
All the best.